This is a real problem. But what we've got to do as Democrats now is we've got to hold this party accountable.
Do you agree with the notion that it was rigged?
Yes.
President Trump responded on Twitter. Pocahontas just stated that the Democrats, led by the legendary crooked Hillary Clinton, rigged the primaries. Let's go, FBI and Justice Department. Joining me now, Fox News contributor Tomi Lahren and Democratic strategist Liz Smith. So, Tomi, I'll begin with you. Hillary can't say this is a vast right-wing conspiracy here. This is the Democratic Party admitting that she rigged the primary against Bernie.
You know what's sad? All this effort, all this work into rigging it, and she still lost.
She
when
can't
you think
even
about
rig
it,
it
it's
right.
actually quite pathetic.
It really is. I mean, she's just incompetent. And, you know, and my point is, if she could rig a primary against Bernie, why wouldn't she try to rig the general against Donald Trump?
You know, that's the question that still remains to be answered. But are we really shocked by any of this?
No.
I mean, I wonder what the Democrats are thinking. Are they really in shock and awe after what Donna Brazile revealed? I mean, come on, let's be honest.
Yeah, and here, I can weigh in on this and tell you that, no, we're not. And 2 years ago, when this was happening, people like me, people like the guy I was working for, Martin O'Malley, we were ringing alarm bells about this.
Oh, wait a second. She not only rigged the primary against Bernie, she rigged it against Martin O'Malley. He would have won the nomination, maybe.
Well, look, I'm not going to use the term rigged, but there's no question they acted inappropriately and put a thumb on the scale. So
Yes.
I'm not going to defend their conduct there. But hey, man, Jesse, Tommy, where were you guys when they were doing this back then? Because it was public knowledge. People like me were out there expressing outrage. And
well, we didn't know about this until the WikiLeaks emails revealed it. And then what happened was Debbie Wasserman Schultz had to step down on the eve of her own convention.
No, this was reported in 2015. We were screaming from the rooftops, and you were nowhere to be found. I would love to have had your help.
Well, scream a little louder, Liz. Let me ask you guys this. Is this basically the Democratic Party saying, Hillary, go back into the woods, take your Chardonnay, we're done with you? Go ahead, Tommy.
I would say absolutely so. I think they're really trying to get rid of her, and I think that they're trying to kind of bring the anger out of these Bernie bros. And again, where's Bernie Sanders in all this? I said it last night on Twitter. If Bernie has any grit at all, he will tear the DNC a new one. He will be vocal, and all these supporters that he had will come out en masse, and they will denounce the DNC, and something will change. But he's been rather quiet about the whole thing.
Yeah, why haven't we heard from Bernie, Liz?
Because, look, we are moving on. Everyone agrees that the DNC acted inappropriately in 2016. That's why we elected a new leader there. And the new leader, Tom Perez, when he was running for DNC chair, said that the 2016 process was flawed, and he's going to stop it from being repeated again. And let me just say one thing. I mean, you guys are so obsessed with Hillary Clinton, and it's like, move on.
Wait a
the
second.
Democratic Party has moved on, and you guys haven't. And
Wait a second. I didn't break the news that she rigged the primary. Donna Brazile, a Democrat, wrote a book about it. That's why we're covering it.
I mean, I feel like every day it's Hillary, Hillary, Hillary. And do you remember that guy, Hiro Onada? He was in the Japanese Imperial Army, and 30 years after World War II ended, they found him in the wilds of the Philippines, still fighting the war because no one told him it was over. Sometimes I feel like no one ever told you that the election is over.
I
that
feel
Donald
like
Trump
no one ever
Hillary
told
Clinton
Hillary the election's
lost.
over because she still continues to fight. Tommy?
Oh, my goodness. There's just so many places I could go with that. We're obsessed with Hillary because Hillary is obsessed with Hillary. Furthermore, there are still people protesting the election. It's been almost a year now. So I think that we've accepted it. I'm wondering when the other side of the aisle is going to accept it, because every day, day in and day out, that's all we hear. So I think that's a little bit of the pot calling the kettle black, don't you think?
All right, well, listen, let's just accept the results of the election and that Donald J. Trump is the President of the United States. Now, let's move on. I want to show you guys an ad, despicable ad, by the Latino Victory Fund. Now, they are aligned with the Democrat running for governor, Northam, who's running against Ed Gillespie. This is an actual ad that was released on television. Go. Now, Tommy, this is a new low in political advertising. They have yanked the ad, and the excuse they use is because a Muslim terrorist mowed down people in his car the other day. But before that, they were for the ad, so I don't really know where they stand. And this is helping Ed Gillespie in the Virginia governor's race because it is so outrageous.
Well, it's disgusting. Really, who wants to watch that? Not only is it disgusting, it's misguided. And I'd like to hear what the Democrats have to say about this, if they support it, if they really think that this is what Republicans are trying to do, is mow down minority children. I don't think that's ever been a part of our platform. Do we want to keep out illegal immigrants? Of course we do, but we're not going to mow them down in pickup trucks. Come on.
Liz, let me just put this to you this way. If Romney in 2012 had cut an ad with a bunch of black gang members on motorcycles, you know, running down white kids in a little neighborhood with some rap music, and then at the end it says, you know, paid for Romney for president, the outrage on the national scene would have been white hot. But this is a blip because it's a Democrat ad.
Right. Well, no. Well, I first of all, I disagree with that. And you know, just to Tommy's point, she's waiting to hear Democrats weigh in. Democrats have already weighed in. I have not spoken to a single Democrat who has defended this ad. Ralph Northam didn't run this ad. It was an outside group, and he has said that he thought the ad was off, you know, off in terms of its tone and everything.
When they were first asked about the ad, his campaign spokesman said she supported it.
And let me say this. I thought the ad was offensive. I was not an ad that I would support. And you know what? It resorted to the sort of fear tactics that we're used to seeing from the Republican Party. And remember this. It was an ad that was released in response to an ad from Ed Gillespie tying Ralph Northam, who's a doctor and veteran, to MS-13 gang members. So what this has become is a race to the bottom. But remember, it was started by Ed Gillespie.
Well, if it was a race to the bottom, the Democrats won. And there's nothing wrong, Tommy, with saying that my opponent, a Democrat, supports sanctuary cities that allow MS-13 to run wild in Virginia. Is there not?
Well, exactly. I mean, that's a point that we're actually trying to make because it's reality. It's not like it's any part of the Republican platform or Gillespie's platform that we're going to mow down minority children. I mean, it's disgusting, it's wrong, it's misguided. And you're right, at least the Democrats are able to win something, and that's going lower than ever before. So
all right, ladies, we got to run.
And look, there are no sanctuary cities in Virginia, and MS-13 is not running rampant around Virginia. Okay?
Not yet. All right, Tommy, Liz, thank you guys.
Welcome back. As we mentioned in the angle, some politicians are using the New York City terror attack to foment a totally false narrative about terrorism and immigration. To make matters worse, the media, they seem to have no problem advancing this storyline. For example, just hours after the attack, NBC News offered this headline: Muslim Americans again brace for backlash after New York attack. Their concern for the 8 dead victims is just positively overwhelming. The Associated Press posted a tweet this morning saying, quote, investigators seek motive after driver in a rented truck mowed down people on a bike path in New York City. Motive? He yelled Allahu Akbar after he carried out the attack and requested an ISIS flag in his hospital room. You don't need to be Columbo to figure that one out. Joining us for reaction here in Washington is Democratic strategist and adjunct professor David Goodfriend. And in New York is Ann Coulter, a nationally syndicated columnist. It's great to see both of you. Ann, let's start with you. I mean, the cries of Islamophobia. I mean, how long did it take, Ann? Maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes after the terror attacks in New York? It's like clockwork.
6 hours, NBC News, in a tweet, for those keeping count. No, the media is very, very predictable. The media is on the side of the Democrats, and the Democrats haven't been changing any minds recently. It's not like they have good ideas. They're bringing in ringers. They want this constant transformation of America so that they can win elections. In fact, it's come up just this week with the Virginia election, I think it was in the Washington Post, no, the New York Times, Democrats fretting that maybe all of the Hispanics that have moved into Virginia may not come out and vote for the Democrat against Gillespie. This is all about the vote for the Democrats. For the Republicans, the corrupt Republicans, it's all because their donors want the cheap labor. But don't imagine that Democrats are changing any minds here.
David, on the issue of this diversity visa program, where 50,000 individuals get a lot. It's like a Powerball for visas. Is that really where we should be today, given the labor market, given the fact that we have a lot of still minorities who are looking for work, who need better jobs, and I don't really get it. We're a pretty diverse country, increasingly diverse now. Why do we need a diversity program?
Well, look, Laura. First of all, I come from the upper Midwest. I know about factories that have shut down, and I know a lot of the concerns about finding jobs for people here at home. But I want the first words I say about this to be that I'm thinking about the families of those 8 people. I think we all should take a deep breath and realize real people were killed, real people are hurt, and we shouldn't allow ourselves to be terrorized by the terrorists. I'm going to ride my bike down a path here in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. I'm going to ride the metro. I won't be intimidated. These are the kind of things we should be talking about, unifying us as a nation,
kind of a
bringing us
cliche.
together.
I mean, I like you, David. Don't get me wrong. You're a great guy, but I mean, that's just the stuff we hear all the time. I'm resilient. Of course, we're resilient. We're Americans. We all know that.
Well, but you asked about the program. You asked about that visa program.
But they would be alive if we didn't have that cockamamie program in place.
Well, that's like, okay, but hold on. That's like me
alive.
saying, but Laura, that's like me saying there'd be people alive in Las Vegas if we didn't have assault weapons for sale. How do you react to that?
Well, I think in this case, we have a Second Amendment that actually gives us the right to keep and bear arms.
So you would argue that
you don't have a constitutional right to come into the United States
I'm going to get some
from
insight.
Uzbekistan.
You're helping me.
That's
Give
right.
me insight into the mind of a conservative. So because the Second Amendment is there, you think that the shooting and the gun sales are okay. But because we can talk about a law here that passed in 1990, that's completely
That's a tautology. That's not exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, what are you
all
saying?
What I'm saying. I think liberals have gone too far. This is why Trump got elected, and I think everyone gets their blinders on. Anne's written books about this. I've talked about it for years. We get in our blinders and we think, okay, we have the right answers. But you forget that most people in the country aren't all that political. Most people don't really care about politics. They want food on the table. They want safety.
Agreed.
They want security. They maybe save a little for retirement. This seems to make not a lot of sense to most Americans. I bet if you did a poll on this, and Ann, you can chime in, just on this issue of the diversity visa, you ask like a random guy in upstate New York, should we have a diversity visa? You ask people down south, maybe even California, it's Hispanic immigrants, Ann. They're not seeing a lot of hikes in their wages either. Do you think they're all, we need more diversity? I don't think so. I think the Democrats make a mistake on this one.
You keep bringing up, I think, a fantastic point. You've brought it up with all of your guests, and I would like to more fully answer it, and that is this religion of diversity. No, diversity is just treated like it's automatically a good thing, like the word organic. And we have diversity plus lottery, because, that's how Kate Upton picks who she's going to date. She has a lottery. Otherwise, professional sports players and rock and rollers, they'd have the inside track. The Astros should be getting chess players and the AV team.
Could I ask Anna a
guy with club foot. It's crazy. We are the greatest country in the world. We should be choosing people who are going to be our fellow citizens the way the Astros and the Dodgers choose their players and not be taking people with club feet. It's our choice. And whenever Americans find out the way any aspect of our immigration policy is run, it is not popular. The Democrats don't want to talk about it. Unfortunately, until Donald Trump, no Republican wanted to talk about it either.
Yeah, bingo.
Well, Ann, I want to ask you this question because I'm really curious to know the answer. There was a legislative proposal put forward by Republicans and Democrats to get rid of this program and have a blanket reform that was rejected in the House. Do you support that? Do you support that bipartisan effort to reform immigration?
It was rejected as part of a plan to amnesty 30 million illegal aliens.
So you don't. You don't support it.
So no, we would like to get rid
important.
of the diversity lottery. Yeah. We do not want to amnesty 30 million illegals.
Well, see, that's interesting.
We have a hard break here, guys, but this is a great segment and a really good conversation. I want to have you both back. Phenomenal.